Hi and welcome to my time-lapse video with commentary of my mixed media painting Lost City. Now there are two things I did before the time-lapse even starts, which is first of all, of course, tape the edges, and then I paint over that tape with acrylic medium, and I do that so that later when I paint, the paint doesn't bleed under the tape. It's highly recommendable and it really works. And the second thing I did was I used this emergency blanket gold foil and I glued it in some places, as you can see. I did that because I saw somebody on YouTube do it and I wanted to try it. Now this is what I did. This is not what I recommend. You will see I later on will have to remove that again because it didn't really work. So next I went in with the sketch. I used a kind of a coloring pencil. It's oil-based, I think. At least it's water resistant, so it wouldn't smudge, because then I went over all of that with an orange underpainting. This is acrylics. I also went over that gold foil, and I had to blow dry this. Use a hair dryer on this so that it was completely dry before I moved on. I made a kind of a monochromatic underpainting. I'm using rollers here. I hope you can see that. And also brushes. And when I say monochromatic, I don't mean just black and white. I always make it a point to mix colors into the darks and into the brights. I think it makes it more interesting from the very beginning. This is all acrylic paint. And then I went in with the light colors. I have to be perfectly honest, didn't have that clear of a color scheme, so I'm just trying out some things and I later go over it again, because with acrylics you can actually do that. And so that's also why I started with this monochromatic underpainting, because I first wanted to be sure my brights and darks are going to be in a good place. Now this is already my second session with this painting, and I am going in with acrylic markers. I really love these markers by Molotov, and I'm using them for some details, some of the outlines really, some details, some of the highlights as well. Later on I used the white marker. Here you see me use the black. And you can already see that that gold foil is not really sticking and is wrinkly and is annoying. And I'm taking it off here, some of it. And I have to fix some of the painting, of course. And then I continue with my underpainting, brights, darks, and I actually go in with a little bit of color as well, as you can see here. Also there at his shoulder I had to fix quite some things, because there was also a piece of gold foil that actually came off right in the beginning. And now we're already on step 3 of session 2, which is adding more color. I'm again trying out some colors that I then change again later, and I have to put in that chessboard pattern because of the removed foil. And now this is hard to see because it goes by so fast. The next thing that comes up is that gold drip pen, which I love so much. I'm also using it not only for that drip thing in the top corner, but also for the chessboard, because it's a really great gold. And then on top of that, I add the gold leaf. I also add some gold leaf on the city on his head. And then I do more acrylics, very bright brights this time. And that was that for this session. Now comes session 3, where I go in for details for the city on his head with the black Molotov marker again, and just generally a lot of black details with that marker, even though I don't, and that's why I'm using the marker now, is because I then later, I like a more painterly style, so I can go over all of that later with some paint and a brush and make it look a little more painterly. So first I did all of that with the black pen, and then I rinse and repeat and use the white pen for some details as well. And here I go in with acrylic paint and the markers again for more refining on the chessboard pattern. More acrylic paint for the pattern at the bottom. And just kind of fixing things here and there. Never forget to really step away a lot while you're painting, because you just see things that way much better than if you keep standing right in front of the canvas. Now this is session 4, and I decided I need to remove all of the remaining gold foil, which is really annoying because, of course, if I had known, I had made that orange underpainting all the way through, and now I have to kind of fill it all in. I was annoyed, but at the same time, I decided, well, if I'm going to have to redo it, I'm going to redo it better than it was before. And so I did, and it worked. I'm happy with the outcome. It could have just been easier and faster if I had known that that gold foil thing does not work for me. Maybe it works for you. Let me know if you've had a positive experience with using an emergency blanket, but I just don't think it can look high class and high quality in any way, or at least I didn't manage. So here I'm using paint as well as the marker, I think, for the black chessboard fields, and achieving the look I want, which is not super precise, but also not sloppy. And finally, my last session, I'm adding the white city in the background, the bright city in the background, using that white marker one last time before I then finish the painting with oils, which just gives the whole thing a much better depth, and well, the intensity of the colors is just, I prefer it to just leaving the acrylics. So I think adding a layer of oil on top just makes the colors more luscious and everything just more beautiful, really. I do like the color scheme, the way it came out, but I must say I had to change it up a lot because it wasn't that planned out, which is okay too. Sometimes I like to do things like that, just in the moment, make these decisions in the moment. On a sketch, you can't always tell what colors are going to look good in the painting. And I've said this before, as tempting as it might be to remove the tape right away, I try to not do it until the next day because I might see something that I want to add or that I have to fix. So I prefer to wait at least one day, take a good look at the painting before I remove the tape, which is what I'm doing here. Also, what I would possibly do in that session is sign the piece. And that always is a bit of a celebratory moment, really. Removing the tape's great, and signing a piece is wonderful too. So now I'm going to show you a bit of a close-up, and I'd be very curious to hear what you think of this painting and also of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe to my channel, but you can also subscribe to my newsletter, my homepage, and of course you can follow me on Instagram. Soon I will sell originals, but I'm also selling prints, and I'm selling some of my art on products, and you will receive a coupon if you subscribe to my newsletter. So why don't you do that? Everything is linked, and I really hope to see you again, so take care.